Hello, everyone. I hope that I am audible and visible to everyone. A very good evening from India. I hope I can see a few comments in the chat box. A very good evening to all of you. I hope I'm audible. If someone can just let me know that I'm audible, because I will only start when I get some indication from you that I'm audible. Am I audible? I can't see anybody commenting in the comment section. Can someone please comment and let me know if I'm audible? A very good evening to all of you. I can't see anyone commenting at the moment, so I'm still waiting. I guess I do have 9 viewers, and I will just wait for another minute so that I have a few more people join us. I hope we all are having a wonderful weekend. It's Friday evening in India and it's 7 p.m. I don't know, it must be morning in certain countries and probably afternoon in others. So, a very good morning, afternoon, evening to each one of you. And let me introduce myself. I'm Vandita Dharni, and I'm an admin with How to Write for Success Literary Forum. And today I will be, it's in fact, it's been very kind of Brenda Mohammed to give me the opportunity. And she, as you all know, she's the founder of How to Write for Success Literary Forum, as well as we have so many other forums. I hope that everyone's watching now and I can begin. So I would like to begin with a poem of Brenda Muhammad. I would start with her. And this poem was something that really I was really taken up by, because it's related to poetry and who is actually a poet. So she defines it pretty well, and I would like to start with that. Now, Brenda Muhammad, as we know, she's already an author, a published author of several books. She's written about 37 in total, and she's a multi award winning author. She's a renowned poet. She's been a banker, and there's so much more to her. I mean, there's so many facets of her personality that are absolutely incredible. And as we get to know her, they're gradually unfolding. And she's a beautiful woman, beautiful lady inside out. So this is to you, Brenda. I'm reading a poem from one of your, anthologies, and the name of this poem is, and of course, I'd like to use my spectacles for that. So just give me a minute to. All right. So the poem is entitled "Who is a Poet?" In almost all countries, poets have existed since antiquity. In different cultures and periods, they've produced works that vary greatly. Throughout the course of literary history, each civilization and language, poets have used various styles that have diversified literature with no damage. This resulted in a history of poets as diverse as resultant literature. The history of the poet profession is clearly described in Wikipedia. A poet is a person who creates poetry essentially for communication. to express ideas in a literal or metaphorical sense about any specific situation. A poet may call oneself as such or be called such by any other. Narrate the art to an audience or simply be a poetry writer. Many poets have graced this earth, each with a unique contribution. Hymn writers are delighted that in churches their poems are sung. Since there are no officially sanctioned rules of poetry to follow, there's no right or wrong way to write a poem tomorrow. There are techniques and methods you can learn, of course. You can choose to use forms and formulae which all endorse. So these are certain tips, very valuable tips that she gives us about writing poetry, and she is defining who really is a poet, a true poet. The second poem that I would like to read is of Lucky Stephen Onya. I hope I'm pronouncing your name correctly. Um, Now he's also the founder of School of Arts in Poetry, and this particular poem that he's written is entitled Advanced Disadvantage. Ozone sphere depletion, I repeat, ozone sphere depletion, greenhouse gas effect, global warming effect, invasion by coronavirus, pervading our perception, ruining our daily routines, defying threats from COVID, nature struggles to sustain. Living creatures she harbors, earth sick and needs healing. The galaxy hurt in sympathy. A call for a rethink is needed, while men fight to master it. It weeps for her laws broken, her hidden resources subverted. Our course became a curse. We cause harm to ourselves as untamed our explorations. May Providence be kind to us, aid Earth to preserve humanity, for she sorely needs refreshing where balance is lacking. So calamity naturally follows suit, such advanced disadvantage. Thank you, Lucky, for that beautiful poem. And now we go on to my third, and she's one of my favorite poets. She's an Indian poet, but she's settled in Dallas, Texas, and she's a very prolific poet. And her name is, and she's of course a dear friend also. Her name is Lopa Mudra Banerjee. And this particular poem has actually been taken from her book of, it comprises short stories and a novella. So it's a beautiful poem, and I would like to read that. Of course, it's untitled because it's taken. I've just picked it up from one of her beautiful stories in all that jazz. That's the name of her novel, her book. It's called All That Jazz. Waking skies at sunrise, every sunset too, seems to be bringing me memories of you. Here and there, everywhere, scenes that we once knew, and they all just recall memories of you. How I wish I could forget those happy yesteryears that have left a rosary of tears. Your face beams in my dreams, spite of all I do. Everything seems to bring memories of you. So that's a very romantic kind of a poem, and I think we need that love flowing in today's times. We need to be positive, and we need to be you know, brimming with love and positivity. So that's the reason why I picked on poems which are not too, morbid, but something which would keep you, it would give you a very positive frame of mind. So my next poem is, of course, I'm going to read one of my own poems also. So this one is entitled "The Tree with a Familiar Scent," and there is lots more. So please stay on. There's lots more. There's a teak tree in the tropical forest that has sprouted roots in me. Often, I see my blue veins throbbing with their viscous sap. Sorry, I'll just repeat that. Often, I see my blue veins throbbing with their viscous sap. The blue of the ocean that washes the rough particles off my hands when I trace patterns on the semolina sitting in a bowl beside me, the canvas of my watered dreams. Once a reality, gone in a fleeting moment, washed away, swept in my misty eyes, that reflect the anguish of the morning wind, brushing through brambles and bushes in an avalanche. Those cacophonous echoes against the cliffs are my mournful dreams, truncated like the tree I knew by its familiar scent. Its sandpaper trunk where I yearned to rest, its leathery scent that I ached for always. I sit on my coffee table, strumming on the wood where birds once sat, now a stump. The branches have vanished, and so have the birds. I am the tree, and the tree is within me. My next poem is by one of the admins of How to Write for Success, and his name is Timothy DeVito. Timothy is an admin, and he's also a poet. And I'll read out his poem entitled Into the Looking Glass. Looking into your amazing eyes, I see hope. Looking into your vibrant smile, I sense faith. Looking into your wondrous soul, I feel love. As we kiss, I taste of passion on a summer's night, leading into autumn's soulful embrace. As winter arrives, your heart warming beyond compare, reborn on spring's caress of humanity. Looking into your tenderness, I feel alive. Looking into your compassion, I'm safe. Looking into your passion, I feel your heat. Like a mirror, take effect, where the mountains meet the water. You are my soul that lives forever. I'll repeat the last two lines. Where the mountains meet the water, you are my soul that lives forever. Isn't that beautiful? I'll read another one, a very short poem by Mala Naidu. Again, she's from USA. She's definitely of Indian origin, but settled in USA. And this is an untitled poem, a very short but a beautiful poem. Standing on the border of time, I look back at sunshine and shadows. The rain gave me joy. The shadows birthed my soul. I'll read it again. Standing on the border of time, I look back at sunshine and shadows. The sun gave me joy. The shadows birthed my soul. My next poem is going to be a poem by he's Professor Deba Brata Mohanty. And of course, he's a poet, a prolific poet, and he has also recently published his own anthology, independent anthology, and that's entitled Smoky Dew. Now, this particular poem is, of course, not from that anthology, but I just happened to like it and I just picked it up. I enjoyed this poem, and it's entitled Bon Voyage. Impassioned songs are sung with a broken lyre over flesh and blood, unkindly seared by a blazing fire. Again, I'll repeat. Impassioned songs are sung with a broken lyre over flesh and blood, unkindled, seared by a blazing fire. Still, we smack our lips to croon with strep throats, and the voice strings us along, drifting away high in a black hole. The bizarre sky looks indifferent. The world before us is reticent. The wise clock exhorts for another seafare through sun and storm, cuddles and care. That's such a heartwarming poem. It ends on a lovely note. My next poet is Farhana Said, and she's, of course, a very, as we know, she's one of our very glamorous, beautiful admins. So she's of course, again, she's a prolific poet, and she's also working on a novel at the moment. And this poem is again a very short poem. It's entitled If I Let You Go. If I let you go for your peace at the cost of my ashes, hoping you come back for me to rise as a phoenix. If I let you go for your peace at the cost of my ashes, hoping you come back for me to rise as a phoenix. And of course, the next one is by one of my very dear friends, and she's also an admin and a medical doctor by profession, a poet, medical doctor. She has lots up. She's got so much on her plate, and I tell you, she is so active as an admin, despite all the responsibilities that she undertakes. And I can see her there. I know she's there. Miri, you know, I'm talking about you, Dr. Miriam, a wonderful, very affectionate lady and a complete, she is really, I think, one blessed doctor. I think she's received prayers from don't know how many people. She's been one of the frontline workers, and I really salute her completely for all the courage and the positivity. Apart from the courage, I mean, look at her positivity. She's been working with COVID patients, and amazing her attitude towards life and everything. It's just something which is absolutely exemplary. I would say she's one person I really look up to as a person. She has a beautiful soul. She's a beautiful soul. Okay, so now her poem is The Broken Heart. I don't know how she gets time to write poetry, really amazing. And this got published in Willie Wash, which is a blogazine. So I heard the name for the first time, Willie Wash. So that's a blogazine where she got published, and this is a beautiful poem, The Broken Heart. We were lovebirds and exchanged words, words of sweet feelings like normal human beings. The days and nights passed like river water, very calmly, and we offered ourselves for each other. It was blind faith promised until death. We mixed the life of the heavenly feeling like a good living being. Suddenly, his mood changed. He tried to cage me and keep me confined. He had different ideas for me, didn't like to keep me honorably and free. This caused me a great shock. Now everything was at stake. Life for me seemed like a bitter cake. Everything around me seemed fake. Not only did it break, but it created a known hatred. I didn't take love so honestly, knew not how it had stopped suddenly. Of course, a very poignant poem. It's all about love and how there's heartbreak also. So, very poignant but beautiful. And I will close with a poem by by Radha Krishnan. He's also a very regular, a poet who submits so regularly. I mean, practically every day we get to read one beautiful poem from him. So it's always a pleasure, Radha Krishnanji. I hope you're there and listening. And his poem is Wings and Fetters. Trying to take off with dreams as wings, grounded we lie, poor crippled things, with many feathers that weigh a ton, pulling us down to the ground in their turn. When feathers are turned into fetters, a mighty eagle will turn into a turtle, wrapped up in anger, fear, and pride. In an invisibly rusty chain, we are tied. Shatter the shackles that paralyze wings, hammer of love to break those strings with some feathers heavier than lead. Turn not the sky of life into hell of dread. Cut off some feathers to make the wings light. With the wings of faith and love, fill great heights. These are the words of wisdom I have heard. Don't make yourself a crippled bird. So, with this, I come to an end for today's poetry reading session. And I hope to join you again someday soon where I can read some more poets. I would definitely love to read. There are so many in our group, and I would love to read each one of you. So, I hope I get a chance, and I hope you do. Just tag us also in your poems so that we know and we read them more carefully. Of course, we read your poems, but sometimes with our busy schedules, it just happens that we tend to overlook a few poems. So make sure that I don't mind if you tag me on your poems. It's always wonderful and I would love to read some of you. So it was a pleasure being here, and I hope you enjoyed today's evening session and hope to see you again soon. So stay blessed, and God bless each one of you, and look forward to seeing you again. Have a wonderful evening and a wonderful weekend. Bye, everyone. Bye.